You always want to wait until age 70 to take your Social Security benefit. Have you heard that advice before? Chances are you have, and for good reason. There is a lot of benefit to waiting until age 70 to turn on your Social Security benefit. And for many pre retirees and current retirees, it's the optimal strategy. But if you compare that scenario more comprehensively, especially compared to the opportunity cost of waiting to take Social Security, which means having to spend more of your money earlier on in retirement, it may not be as great of an option as most people think. My name is Derek Delaney. I'm a certified financial planner, and this is the type of work I get to do for my clients for a living. So let's talk about waiting until age 70. There are 4 primary reasons why people wait until age 70, in my opinion. Reason number 1 is because every year you wait, the federal government gives you a 6 to 8% annual increase on your benefit. So it's like a guaranteed 6 to 8% rate of return. Great. Number 2 is that Social Security is backed by the full faith and credit of the United States government. And I know for a lot of people, they'll be like, well, that doesn't mean a whole lot. As a matter of fact, by 2033, the Social Security Administration or the Social Security Trust Fund is going to run out of money and benefits will have to get reduced. There is such a small chance of that happening because of all the levers the federal government can pull. So I still think having the full faith and backing of the federal government is important when it comes to Social Security. Number 3 is that Social Security also provides a cost of living adjustment. So not only do you have the full faith and credit of the United States government behind you, and not only do you get a guaranteed 6 to 8% rate of return on that benefit for every year you wait, but you also get a cost of living adjustment on that benefit in the year or after the year you start taking Social Security. And that new cost of living adjustment benefit is your new floor once it happens. So you never have to worry about going backwards. So it's a great planning tool in that regard. And then finally, if you have a spouse that has a significantly higher Social Security benefit than their significant other, and they maximize that benefit to age 70, and that spouse dies at 71, the surviving spouse will get that higher benefit for the remainder of their entire life. So it provides a lot of protection for the surviving spouse if they have longevity on their side. So those are 4 great reasons why most people go, hey, I'm going to wait until age 70 to take my Social Security benefit. And chances are in a lot of situations that truly is correct, but I want to talk about one reason why, from a comprehensive standpoint, taking that strategy and forgetting about everything else could do you more harm than good. And instead of me just explaining it, let's look at a real world example. So in this example, we're going to look at Mike and Sarah. Mike and Sarah are currently 60 and 58 years old, respectively, and they have longevity in their family, so we think Mike's going to live to age 97 and Sarah's going to live to age 95. Great. Well, if they come to me and they go, Derek, how do we maximize Social Security? At what ages should we claim our benefit? And you can see here that Mike's benefit at full retirement age is $3,700 and Sarah's benefit at full retirement age is $2,480. Well, if they came to me with that question, the obvious answer would be, both of you waiting until age 70 will produce the largest amount of money received from the Social Security Administration Trust Fund if you both live to age 97 and 95 respectively. And it's not even close. And to provide a little more context in this scenario, if they take it at age 70, all Mike would have to do is live past the age of 81 and Sarah live past the age of 79 before they'd hit the break-even point compared to taking it at age 62. So age 70 in this situation is a no-brainer decision just looking at those assumptions alone. However, like we talked about before, we have to compare taking Social Security from a comprehensive standpoint, which means we have to factor in the opportunity cost of waiting to take Social Security. And the opportunity cost is the longer Mike and Sarah wait to take their benefit, it means that they will have to spend more of their own money to supplement their retirement income needs while they wait. And if they take more out of their own investment portfolio to supplement those needs while they wait, it means less money remains in their investment portfolio, which means less money can grow over time because they're spending it earlier. That is the opportunity cost of waiting to turn on your Social Security. So the question becomes, At what future expected rate of return does it make sense for Mike and Sarah to wait until age 70 to take Social Security until taking it earlier? Well, let's see what the calculations say. If Mike and Sarah think that they're going to get a 3% inflation adjusted rate of return on their money, and if we assume inflation's 3%, they're going to receive about a 6% total rate of return on their money. If we think that their portfolio is going to produce an average of a 6% rate of return on their cash, it still makes sense for them to wait until age 70 to turn on their Social Security benefit. But you can see here that their total benefit received when you factor in the opportunity cost of waiting drops from $1.9 million to a little over $1 million. And then we can also say, hey, what if Mike and Sarah just want to get close to that max? Meaning that they want to, or they would be okay with only receiving or getting within 1.5% of receiving that max Social Security benefit. Well, if that's the case, any claiming strategy here from an age standpoint would produce Mike and Sarah, or would get Mike and Sarah within 1.5% of that maximum amount, which means Sarah now could take it at age 67 and Mike could take it at age 69, and they would still get within 1.5% of receiving their max in this scenario, where they would only lose out on about $14,893. So that's great information to know, because if Mike and Sarah want to take their benefit a little bit earlier, considering this opportunity cost of 3%, they'd be able to do so at age 67 or 69 or even earlier for each of them, and still get within 1.5% of that total max. Well, let's just say Mike and Sarah have a future expected rate of return number that is higher than 6. Let's say that inflation adjusted, they think they can earn an average of a 5% rate of return. So in total, 8% if we think inflation is 3. Well, now you can see here that their optimal Social Security claiming strategy drops to age 69 and 68 respectively, and their total lifetime benefit drops to $697,000 when you adjust it for the opportunity cost of having to wait to these ages and spend money that otherwise could have earned an average of a 5% inflation adjusted rate of return. And then Mike and Sarah go, well, Derek, we just want to get within 1.5% of that maximum benefit. What claiming strategies would we have available to us if we wanted to do that? And you can see here, it opens up much more broadly, where they can actually take their retirement benefits much earlier. Let's just say Sarah takes it at 64, Mike takes it at 68. And if they did that, they would still get within 1.5% of that max and only lose out on $10,154 as a total benefit. So for them, they might look at that and go, that is a trade-off we're willing to make. Now, finally, let's assume that Mike and Sarah are really aggressive investors, and they say instead of a 5% rate of return, we think we can get a 7% inflation-adjusted rate of return. So with inflation, it's a return of about 10% a year. If that is truly what they get, their optimal Social Security claiming strategy is no longer 70. It's no longer high 60s. It's actually to take it as soon as possible. Because now if their expected future rate of return on that money is truly going to be that high, then it makes more sense to take Social Security much earlier, because the future expected rate of return of the money they don't have to withdraw because they're taking Social Security earlier is higher than the future expected increase of Social Security is on its own. So if you think that your future expected rate of return, and in this scenario, they're going to have about $2 million of retirement assets. In this scenario, they think that their expected future rate of return on their retirement portfolio is going to be a 7% rate of return or higher, inflation adjusted. They are now better off at claiming Social Security much earlier, as early as possible at age 62, because the earlier they can claim, it means less money they have to take out of those retirement portfolios, and it gives the money that they otherwise don't have to take out a higher chance to grow. And if it can grow at that inflation-adjusted rate of return of 7%, it becomes an absolutely no-brainer decision, because they're going to make more money keeping more money in their investment portfolios than they would have waiting to take Social Security at a later age and withdrawing more of that money out of their investment portfolio at an earlier age, considering that higher future rate of return. So some of the extra questions you're going to have to ask yourself when it comes to claiming Social Security is, what is my risk tolerance and what is my risk capacity? And how is that going to affect what I think the future expected rate of return of my portfolio is going to be? And then the other thing you're going to want to know is, what is the expected future balance of my portfolio at the time when it comes to either make or delay taking Social Security, because the compounded rate of return on that retirement nest egg is going to have a big factor. So when it comes to your Social Security, it makes sense to consider all options. And for a lot of people, that is waiting until age 70 to take the benefit. However, you need to make sure you're making that decision from a comprehensive standpoint. And one of the key areas you're going to have to layer in is the opportunity cost of withdrawing your money earlier in retirement because you're waiting to take Social Security later on. Again, this is the type of work I do for my clients. So if you're somebody sitting out here going, I want this type of an analysis and this type of comprehensive review done when it comes to the claiming strategies of my Social Security, click on the link below, schedule your free consultation, and we could talk about how I implement this type of planning into the comprehensive retirement planning I do for my clients, near term and long term. So click on that link, schedule your conversation, and until then, happy planning.